So I guess this is just going to be how Matt Groening stays busy now that Disney owns The Simpsons. Disenchantment Season 2 is out on Netflix. I reviewed the first season when it came out, however long ago that was. I guess about a year, maybe a little more. I don't know. I could go back and check, but I'm not gonna, because I'm lazy. I've now seen Season 2, and thankfully, unlike, say, She-Ra Seasons 2 and 3, it wasn't a case of they took a second season and divvied it up into two parts. This is a proper second season. It is, as long as the first season, 10 episodes, half an hour apiece. Now, if you didn't see or don't recall or don't feel like going back and rewatching my review of the first season, quick primer. I thought it had a lot of promise. I thought that the characters, most of them were pretty good. The main characters especially, the character of Bean in particular, I thought was a really high watermark. I enjoyed Lucy. Elfo worked for me more often than he didn't. I had a few issues elsewhere, but I did like how it started out episodic and then not only built into something more akin to a grander story, but you also realized that it was seeding bits and pieces for that grander story as it was doing the episodic thing, kind of under your nose and a little bit under the radar. I thought that was really good and really cool. So coming into the second season, knowing that basically the hand has already been tipped as to some of the bigger stuff going on, how's the second season going to pick up? Kind of awkwardly, as it turns out. Not right off the bat. Basically, the first three... That's 6, you moron. Do it on one hand. The first 3 episodes are taken up dealing with the fallout of what happened at the end of the previous season's finale. I'm not going to necessarily cover spoilers on that. No, I'm not. I'm not going to spoil the first season just in case folks haven't seen it already. But basically, there was stuff that happened at the end of that has to be addressed. Characters... certain things were learned about certain characters found themselves in completely different locations. They needed to be joined together again. So that happens over the course of the first 3 episodes of the second season. And then, without having truly resolved, everything, like dealing with the stuff that had disrupted the status quo, but not really resolving the narrative thread left over from the previous season, it then just slips back into being episodic again, which was weird. I might have gone with it better if it had started out episodic right off the bat and just had a similar structure to the first season again, but it doesn't. It starts out serialized and then goes episodic until like the last 2 episodes, and it just doesn't flow this time. What worked about the first season in terms of overall trajectory of the story for the whole season was that, like I said, it snuck its world building or its narrative things that were going to pay off later under your nose. You didn't even realize they were things that were going to be paid off. But you can't pull that trick a second time because now we're watching for it. But it still kind of tries to do that, and on top of the fact that it does... continuing off the previous one, now back to practically status quo of the first season, and then a little blip on the heart meter at the end. Now, the more episodic parts of the season aren't actually bad. They're no worse or really all that much better than the episodic parts of the first season, but they just feel like a step backwards. It's really weird taken as a whole. Again, watching the episodes individually, they probably work better. Honestly, not so much the first season, but this second season really would have worked better on a weekly release schedule. Maybe lump the first 3 episodes together as a new season, big special extra length premiere, but then just have it go weekly. Because binging through it, I found myself going, what, but you're not dealing with you're doing this one little hint, but you had massive stuff left over that you're just not dealing with, at all. So, what? And then it pulls a new villain, new sort of overarching villain out of its butt, the show does, towards the very end. And it's not that I don't believe it. I do, but you had other villains you still haven't dealt with yet. Why are you giving us a new what? It's unfocused, is what it is. It feels like it had a couple of ideas that weren't enough to sustain a season. So in order to get a full 10 episodes, they took the ideas they actually had coming off of the first season, stuck them at the front and the end, and then just did filler for like 5 episodes in the middle of it. I actually, like, I watched it in 2 days, and I enjoyed it more than I think the tone in my voice kind of would lead you to believe at this moment in time, but it was really frustrating. And additionally so, because not only do I still like the characters, I like some of the new characters, and some of the characters who I didn't love before kind of grew on me. So, like, new characters, Jerry is the best. He's not in it enough, unfortunately, but Jerry's great. I love him. If you've seen the season, you know who he is. But Bean is still great. I really like Bean as a character. I like kind of her just how much she subverts the princess tropes, and in ways that aren't the standard way they get subverted. Yes, she's more gung-ho for action, whatever, but she's also not the most competent in the world. She's big into drinking. She makes a lot of bad decisions. She's kind of gross sometimes. And, like, I like that just as a female princess lead, she is allowed to be these things. Sometimes she can be dumb. She's frequently drunk. She's a little gross. But she's still a fundamentally good person. I like Bean a lot. Lucy I still had fun with. Elfo was weird this season because after spending a decent chunk of the first 3 episodes bringing him back into the story from where things were left with him at the end of the previous season, the show then doesn't really know what to do with him. Like, all he does is just kind of give us a reason to show stuff going on in Elf Town every now and then. And otherwise, he just kind of stands around and keeps harping on the stuff that happened at the end of the previous season over and over and over and over again. It's annoying because, like, those first 3 episodes are honestly really good, including the parts that cover how Elfo gets brought back into the fold and reunited with the other characters. But it's annoying that so much work was put into figuring out how do we get him back and spending 3 episodes on doing it, and then he's just kind of there. Like, But some other characters who did grow on me a bit more, King Zorg, voiced by John DiMaggio. He was a little bit of a sticking point for me last time, but I chalked that up partially to the fact that I just recognize John DiMaggio's voice so readily that it honestly these days takes me out of things. But I guess by this point I just kind of gotten used to it. So he was more endearing to me as a character. Maybe he's better fleshed out, or maybe I just got used to him and he was this good last season. I'm not entirely sure. So, he works, and that was nice to sort of enjoy time with him a bit more. God, I can't remember his name, but the guy who got turned into a pig last season, he gets some nice screen time. I had some fun with him. And again, like the one-off stories and the characters who get introduced in them aren't bad. It's just the reintroduction of the episodic nature of the season in the middle of it is just very, very strange to me. I mean, this would be an exaggeration, but like, think of any show that you like that had a 2-parter season finale. Buffy season 2 becoming part 1 and 2, and any of the Doctor Who season finales, because they're all 2-parters. Imagine part 1 aired, and then a season worth of episodic stuff, not really connected, happened, and then part 2 aired. This doesn't quite feel like that. It's a little bit hyperbole, but it's not a million miles off from feeling like that. It had a lot of momentum coming off the first season, and it maintained it for the first 3 episodes, and then just kind of decides to go back to what it was like at the start of the first season, and I just don't know why. It's a shame, and it's frustrating. I hope no one was made a drinking game out of taking a shot every time I said the word frustrating, because I've said it a lot. Frustrating. Take a shot. So, yeah. That's Disenchantment Season 2. I'm not going to bail on it. Like, that's one of the nice things for me about things that are, short-ish seasons and the episodes are only half hour long. It takes more to get me to bail on it. So if this gets a third season, I'll probably still watch it because, again, it'll only take me 1-2 days at the most to burn through. And I'm willing to dedicate that much time, about, 3.5 hours to getting through it and seeing if it can get better again. But this season was a bit of a letdown. Some good stuff in it, some good individual episodes, strong start, but it just, and like, the jokes and the humor, they're pretty good. They're about as good as last time. It just irritated me that there seemed to be a plan for how the overall series was going to be built, and now it just looks like, well, I guess there kind of wasn't. I don't know. Disenchantment Season 2. You seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. I'm super proud of myself for keeping this as spoiler-free as I did. Didn't even spoil Season 1. Ha! Additionally, subscribe, hit the bell. I don't know. I don't usually tell people to hit the bell. Do it anyway! As a lark. Plus, hit the like. Support me on Patreon. Helps this thing and, so I can eat. But, there's other stuff to click on besides, but it'd be great if you clicked on it, but you also don't have to. Because at the end of the day, folks, you're the council. I'm just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned.